On the surface, Naomi Judd seemed the picture of perfection, a glamorous beauty living her dream life as a celebrated musician touring the country with her daughter Winona. But on the inside, there was pain and the persistent haunting of a difficult past.
Naomi Judd, one half of the iconic country duo The Judds, left behind more than just chart-topping music when she tragically passed. She left behind unanswered questions, deep sorrow, and a legacy of strength. For months, her husband, Larry Strickland, remained silent. Until now. In a heartfelt and emotional revelation, Larry has finally broken his silence, opening up about Naomi's final days and the heartbreaking truths that fans never knew. What did he reveal that has left the world stunned? And why did he wait so long to speak? This isn't just a story about loss. It's a love story tested by tragedy. Stay with us, because this changes everything.
Born Diana Ellen Judd in 1946, Naomi worked as a nurse in Nashville long before she ever stepped foot on a stage. Her rise to fame came not in youth, but in resilience. Alongside her daughter Winona, she formed the Judds, a duo that would go on to change the face of country music forever. With harmonies that struck the soul and lyrics that felt like they were written from a mother's heart, Naomi and Winona became household names. Their success was meteoric. From the early 1980s through the 1990s, the Judds released hit after hit. Mama, He's Crazy, Why Not Me, and Grandpa, Tell Me About the Good Old Days, weren't just chart toppers, they became the soundtrack of a generation. Over time, they sold more than 20 million records, won 5 Grammy Awards, and collected 9 Country Music Association Awards. They were more than performers. To their fans, they were symbols of strength, love, and family unity. But behind the image of mother and daughter standing side by side was a far more fragile reality. Naomi and Winona had a complicated relationship, built on love, but often strained by fame, personal trauma, and years of emotional highs and lows. Both women would later speak openly about the intensity of their bond, the arguments, the silence, and the emotional distance that would sometimes last for weeks or months. Naomi's relationship with her younger daughter, Ashley Judd, was also complex. Ashley, who became a successful actress and activist, spoke candidly about growing up in what she described as a chaotic and emotionally unstable household. She shared that she was often left alone and had to fend for herself at a young age. These weren't baseless tabloid stories. They were truths confirmed by memoirs, interviews, and the Judds' own words. At the heart of the Judd family was Naomi, a woman who smiled for cameras but suffered immensely behind them. Throughout her life, she battled depression, anxiety, and bipolar disorder. She was one of the few public figures of her time willing to speak openly about her mental health struggles, using her platform to become an advocate for awareness and support. But speaking about pain doesn't erase it, and Naomi's pain ran deep. After being diagnosed with hepatitis C in 1991, Naomi retired from performing. Doctors gave her a grim prognosis, but she defied expectations, entered remission, and used her time to write books, give talks, and push for better understanding around mental illness. Still, the disease she fought hardest, the one inside her, never fully let go. In early 2022, Naomi and Winona announced one last farewell tour. For fans, it was a cause for celebration. For Naomi, it may have been the tipping point. Those close to her said she appeared overwhelmed, emotionally drained, and erratic. The pressure of returning to the spotlight, even for a final bow, weighed heavily on her. Then just one day before the Judds were to be inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame, Naomi Judd took her own life at her home in Leiper's Fork, Tennessee. She was found with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The world mourned. The headlines were stunned, but the full story was only beginning to surface. The autopsy report revealed devastating details. Naomi had been struggling with severe mental illness. Toxicology tests showed a mix of powerful prescription medications in her system, antidepressants, anti-anxiety drugs, seizure medications, and even medications used to treat Alzheimer's symptoms. None of them were illegal, but together they represented a fragile and dangerous combination. One that could have easily deepened depression, impaired judgment, and made emotional stability nearly impossible. Physically, Naomi's body bore the marks of years of surgeries and cosmetic procedures. Scars from facelifts, eyelid surgeries, and tattooed makeup pointed to someone who clung tightly to her image. Even in her final days, she was dressed with care. White pants, a white blouse, a blue robe. Her nails were polished, her hairline was tattooed. But these details stood in sharp contrast to what was happening inside. Perhaps the most heartbreaking revelation was the note Naomi left behind. Though its full contents were not publicly released, it reportedly contained painful language, some of it directed at Winona. The idea that her final written words may have expressed blame or unresolved resentment shocked fans and raised painful questions about their relationship. Ashley Judd was the one who found her mother. She stayed with Naomi for nearly 30 minutes, waiting for paramedics. In later interviews, Ashley spoke through tears about the agony of that moment. She explained that if the family didn't tell the truth about Naomi's cause of death, the media would. So they spoke up, despite the pain, despite the trauma. Winona, too, was left reeling. She later admitted to suffering from survivor's guilt, especially as she took the stage alone to accept the Hall of Fame honor the day after her mother died. She confessed that they weren't on the best of terms at the time. There had been emotional distance, and now there was no time left to fix it. The heartbreak didn't end with Naomi Judd's passing. Just months later, Winona faced yet another life-altering blow. Her husband, drummer Cactus Moser, suffered a medical emergency that left him partially paralyzed, unable to use the left side of his body. In an instant, Winona's world shifted again. She went from mourning daughter to full-time caregiver. Her home was transformed with ramps and mobility aids. Her days now included lifting, bathing, and physically supporting her husband. Tasks she never imagined she'd be doing so early in life. Winona has openly admitted she doesn't feel like a hero. "You hoe the garden or you don't eat," she said, a line from her mother Naomi's survival-era wisdom. For Winona, survival wasn't symbolic. It was real, daily work. Fame faded into the background. Care, love, and responsibility became the focus. Meanwhile, her relationship with her sister Ashley remains distant. Though they live on the same Tennessee property, their lives are separate. Ashley leads a global, independent life, focused on activism, travel, and public advocacy. Winona stays grounded, centered on family and caregiving. Childhood instability and long-buried family secrets, like Winona learning at 30 that her father wasn't who she thought, left emotional cracks that widened after Naomi's death. Their grief paths may never fully reconnect. Since Naomi's passing, the Judd family has fought to keep certain documents, police reports, audio recordings, video interviews, from being released to the public. They filed court petitions arguing that such files would reopen fresh wounds. The battle continues, but some documents, including the autopsy and toxicology reports, have already been made public, leaving the family no choice but to relive their trauma through headlines and speculation. Through it all, Naomi Judd's legacy remains powerful, but painful. She was a trailblazer in country music, a public advocate for mental health, and a voice for those suffering silently. But she was also a woman who felt overwhelmed by fame, pressure, and psychological torment. Her death is a reminder that even the brightest stars can be cloaked in shadows. For Winona Judd, the road ahead is lined with grief, guilt, and unshakable strength.
The Naomi Judd Education and Research Fund continues her mission, offering hope to those fighting hepatitis C and supporting life-saving research. From her roots in rural America to becoming a nurse, singer, actress, and author, Naomi Judd's life was defined by resilience and reinvention. Her true legacy lives not only in her music and films, but in the strength she showed through every chapter. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And check out another powerful story by clicking the video on your screen.